This unfortunately puts the Phantom Menace in a very tough position, but the film has some very good elements that tend to be overlooked. This week in our review of the original 6 Star Wars films, we have now arrived at the first of the prequel Star Wars trilogy films, 1999's Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The long-awaited prequel trilogy begins with The Phantom Menace, which by now has had a quite steady negative reputation. This criticism is largely appropriate since this film is unfortunately highly problematic. This film must introduce the setting of this new trilogy. We don't begin in the thick of a galactic civil war, we are dropped into disputes of different trade factions and political leaders. This automatically sets the film up as being dramatically smaller in scale than its predecessors. To understand the full picture of what is going on with the Trade Federation, Naboo, the Galactic Senate, and well, everything else in this movie, it must be learned from off-screen sources. This is not a smart way to do a movie and also not a good way to start a new trilogy of films either. But the contents of this movie interest me more than any of what we see in the sequels or Solo. The second main story problem is the introduction of Anakin Skywalker. Yes, the pod racing sequence is awesome, but the entire sequence on Tatooine brings the film to an almost screeching halt. I understand that we have to be introduced to Anakin as he is the main character of this trilogy, but the entire sequence feels forced into the film. And also, seeing Anakin as a 9-year-old kid is not ideal.
Now this is pod racing!
Speaking of, the character of Jar Jar Binks is very much overdone, not to mention the rest of the Gungans. This unfortunately puts the Phantom Menace in a very tough position, but the film has some very good elements that tend to be overlooked. The main characters are Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn and his Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi. These two Jedi, despite being underutilized, are both great, especially Qui-Gon. The depiction of the unorthodox Jedi helps the audience be introduced to the state of the Jedi Order at this time. They don't get a good introduction, as they repeatedly deny what we, as the audience, and Qui-Gon know to be true. The Sith have returned in the form of the physical antagonist of the Phantom Menace, Darth Maul. Though he has limited screen time, every scene is necessary to show his role as an assassin and an apprentice. We also get one of the best lightsaber fights in Star Wars to date, and also one of the best Star Wars songs in Duel of the Fates. Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace was, and still is, not a good way to start a trilogy. The film's issues of world building, characters of focus, and the story leave the film as boring and largely lame. However, the film does get some things very right, being its main Jedi and Sith, the action, and score. Though I don't hate this film the way some people do, I will still leave Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, with a 5.5 out of 10. Hello everyone, welcome back to Movies with Michael, and if you enjoyed this movie review, you can show by leaving a like on this video. Comment down below what you think about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Do you hate it the way a lot of people seem to, or are you in the same boat as me and think that a lot of the good things about this movie tend to get overlooked? You can tell me all that down below in the comment section. Please remember to subscribe to this channel and click the notification icon to be notified about my latest videos. And also don't forget that this channel has its own Instagram account, so you can follow this account over on Instagram by clicking the link in the description below. That's all for now, and I'll see you all next time.